Welcome. Today we're taking a look inside North Montco Technical Career Center. I'm Suzette McHugh and I'm the Industry Partnership Coordinator at North Montco. And today we're going to learn a little bit more about what goes on behind the scenes at the school. Joining me now is Bob Lasavita, the Curriculum Specialist at North Montco. Thanks for joining me, Bob.
Thank you for having me.
Well, last month we had students who worked in our salon at the school, the bakery, the restaurant, and the school store. And so we learned about how they are refining their skills by having the opportunity to work with the public. Now, I know North Montco prepares students for careers directly after high school or for college. What are some ways that they prepare them for that?
One of the ways we prepare for industry to go right to work is industry certifications, national certifications, and state certifications. State certification is our Pennsylvania Skill Certificate. It's taken at the end of in the 12th grade year, and it's the equivalent to the PSSA. And our students then are considered proficient or advanced by the state, and it's a certificate they can take with them to the job site. Some employers look for what they call industry recognized certifications. One of the examples would be our automotive technology department. They are certified to give our students, or students can earn, Pennsylvania state inspection licenses. That is a program where the instructor would be certified, the Department of Transportation comes in, certifies the program, and then our instructors can test the students, or train the students and test the students, and they can earn their state inspection licenses. Another type of certification is an industry recognized certification. Also in automotive technology is Hunter Engineering. Hunter Engineering, we have a really unique partnership where we're a satellite training center. What that means is Hunter brings in about $350,000 worth of brand new state-of-the-art equipment that's never there more than a year. Our students can be trained on it. The Hunter trainers can certify our students on a particular piece of equipment. And then they would be able to go in industry, and you would give an employer that they're certified on a wheel alignment machine or a brake lathe or a wheel balancer. The neat thing about that is, years ago when I first began teaching, people would buy, or shop owners would buy a new piece of equipment, and they think they're doing us a favor by donating it to us. Well, if it's obsolete for them, then it's obsolete for us, because we can't train students or our kids on equipment that's not going to be used. Now we've done a complete role reversal. We have the state-of-the-art equipment where a company will buy this equipment. Our students are trained on it before they're technicians. Our students go out and work in these repair shops, and they train their technicians. So our students literally, not officially, but they can train their technicians how to use the equipment. And this goes on throughout the building. Serve Safe and Culinary Arts. Our instructor needs to be certified, the program needs to be certified, and then they can certify the students. We have people come from industry, chefs, educators, who really do an excruciating, sometimes painful audit of the program. They look at every facet. Where the Department of Education looks at the overall program, these third-party, or what we call independent third-party certifying entities, they look at everything. They look at what shoes, are the students wearing the proper shoes with non-slip soles? Are they wearing the proper clothing, hair nets, gloves for safe serve? Are they following mens and plus, which I learned that clean up as you go along so you're not working dirty. And they will spend up to a week in a program reviewing every possible facet before we get certified. And we have several programs in the school. Culinary Arts, Cosmetology by the Department of Health and Cosmetology in Pennsylvania. What else do we have? Nurses Aid Training in Health Occupations, and several more.
So these outside companies certify the program first, and then what happens after the program is officially certified? How does the student earn the certification?
Then the instructor would have to become certified through that same program. They would have to follow, we have a duty task list that we need to follow. That's a state mandate. So most industries accept that task list, or those skills that a kid or a student needs to be proficient in. But most times they will add more tasks, more specific tasks that employers want to see today. So we would have to add their tasks to our duty task list. And if a student passes those exams, the teacher signs them off as they're met the criteria or the standard to be proficient, then the student can earn a certification, HVAC excellence, for example. It's understood that when you go out in industry, local employers or anywhere national employers understand what that certificate means, that they went through curriculum, they had the proper tools, they had the proper training, they had the proper safety training, they used how to use all the different diagnostic equipment that they expect an entry-level employee to be proficient at when they go on the job.
So when these students earn the certifications, is it something that industry always recognizes, or is it something the school?
Well, the industry recognized certifications are far and beyond more demanding than even North Montco or the state recognizes, where the NOCD exam touches on all the curricular pieces, but small pieces, where the industry certifications go way more in depth. Yeah. So not that the state's requirements aren't rigorous, that industry is more rigorous, because it's one thing to get a piece of paper that says, okay, you can do X, Y, and Z, but an employer needs to know that you've completed specific tasks and you can do these tasks or you can do these skills on the job. They don't have to retrain you on every little thing.
So it makes them more employable then?
Absolutely. It gives them a heads up, makes them more employable, more marketable. All things being equal, if two people apply for the job and our students have these certifications, they will get the job over somebody who doesn't.
That's great. That's a great
Yeah,
benefit.
it is.
Especially being a high school student and getting
Correct.
this. Now, you mentioned duty and task. We understand what duty and
Yes.
task mean. What does that mean to
a duty is a
student?
major division. Baking, for example, is a duty. Baking cakes is another duty. Under cakes, you'd have birthday cake, you'd have angel food cake, chocolate cake, apple cake, every kind of cake that you can imagine. They would have rising cakes, cakes that rise, and cakes that you don't have to add. So they break it down into small individual parts. So a student you progress through the curriculum where you wouldn't be doing a 5-tier wedding cake your first week at school. You'd be mixing the batter, then maybe adding the yeast and doing your measurements so that when we say a cup means a cup, a pound means a pound. And then you would progress through these different stages. And when you graduate, hopefully you should be able to do that 5-tier wedding cake.
So, yes, so it's all the steps needed
Yes.
throughout
Yes.
to make them
The
proficient.
tasks are the little, what we call digestible steps that a student learns, and they build upon each step. They're stackable. You crawl before you walk. You do the things that professionals don't even think about. Mixing, where you say a pinch of salt. Well, we don't do a pinch of salt. We do 1/8 of a teaspoon using 1/8 of a teaspoon.
Right.
Once you become more proficient or more comfortable, yes, you can do a pinch, but we don't do that. We don't do shortcuts. We don't do, as I like to say, bad habits that you get into because you know your industry inside and out.
Right. That's a great thing.
Yes.
Now, going back to, you mentioned about Hunter Engineering and
Yes.
the partnership we have
Yes.
with them. We have 5 sending districts: Methacton, North Penn, Souderton, Perkiomen Valley, and Wissahickon.
Yes.
And they all contribute to our students to running our school.
Mm-hmm.
So what are other ways we can have the funds to get the equipment needed for the
This
school?
equipment is what I call prohibitively expensive. We write grants. We write equipment grants. We write Perkins grants. We write from the state, federal government, local grants. Some colleges offer grants. Companies offer grants. We just received $200,000 from the state for a grant, and we purchased a very sophisticated milling machine. I can't tell you how complicated it is. I've seen the thing work, and it's unbelievable. $50,000.
So who determines what kind of equipment? Is this industry?
Oh, yes. We have occupational advisory committees or OAC committees. They tell us what we need. They're going to hire our students when they graduate. So they don't want students being trained on a turret lathe from the World War II. They're obsolete. They want sophisticated CNC machines and mills and lathes and other kinds of devices. I'm not that familiar with those. But when I went to look at the machines before we made these purchases, I had to see them to make sure that this is what our OAC wanted. If the OAC doesn't approve it, we do not purchase it.
And the OAC, the Occupational Advisory Committee, who is on that committee?
There are local employers, parents, students, current students and former students, workers in the field, everybody who's for machining, precision machining. Most of our OAC members are either shop owners or machinists.
Okay, for that one.
Yes.
So that's great. They really guide the school and all the
Yes.
programs
Yes.
and make our students employable. And there's always that misconception that you can't go to college if you attend North Montco.
Unfortunately, that's one of those fallacies. We are now mandated by the state to integrate academics on a level before CTE instructors would do the math as it aligned to their program. Again, I was an automotive technology instructor, so we would do cubic inch displacement of an engine, where students at North Penn would do volume of a cylinder. Is it the same? Yes. Is it different? Yes. And what we do now is we bridge from the purely technical math, volume of a cylinder, to, we'll say, volume of a soup can or volume of a basketball, to what the students would see on the PSSA, or now what they're going to be called the Keystone exams. So we bridge from what the kids understand in a contextual manner to a conceptual, where it's numbers that maybe not are real clear what they're looking for. It's the same math. The idea is we want to teach in such a way that students never see that, okay, we're going to do math today. Well, we don't do that. We're going to do something that's related to your technical field. By the time we get to the end, you're doing PSSA math.
Right, right.
Correct.
And they don't realize it. They
don't
really
realize it.
understand.
It's got to be a seamless integration.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Well, this information has been great, Bob. You really told us a lot
Thank
about
you.
the opportunities for students at North Montco, and I appreciate you being here today.
Thank you much.
So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to learn more about the driver's education program offered at North Montco Technical Career Center. Stay tuned.
Bring this one.
I think someone at my friend's school has this thing called autism. My friend's brother's son has autism. My neighbor's son has autism. My son has autism.
Autism is getting closer to home. Today, 1 in 88 children is diagnosed with autism. That's a 1,000% increase in the last 40 years. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
You can say with me, imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read.
So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child. So let's join hands, book people unite. Unearth hidden passion. Come on, we'll have a good time. One book can be the first thing helps to change a life. Book people unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
Welcome back. Today we are taking a look inside North Montco, and joining me now is Bill Kresman, the Continuing Education Supervisor at North Montco. Bill, thanks for being here today.
Well, thanks for having me, Suzette.
Well, you know what? A lot of people don't realize that we offer driver's education training at the school. So I thought you could come here and tell us a little bit about the program.
Okay, we offer a driver training program at North Montco. Ours is basically designed and run a way the state would like us to run it. We have classroom, which is 30 hours. We have, from that point, 6 hours behind the wheel. And if the parents want, we're also capable, we can give the actual driver's test during the 6th hour, which a lot of parents like. It takes the inconvenience of trying to make appointments anywhere. We do it right at our site.
So you said it's a class that the state wants. Is it state approved?
This is a state-approved program, and we run it the way they want it. They want us to have a 30-hour program for classroom. Now, we offer two varieties of this. We actually have classroom, and we have a lot of students that get involved in sports.
Right.
And the ones that are involved in the sports, they cannot make all of our classroom dates. And if you don't make one of those dates, you have to make it up at another class. So in order to avoid that and make it easy on everybody, the state allows us to do an online program for classroom only. Now, the online program is not easy, okay? The online program is equivalent to 30 hours.
Okay.
So you have a choice. You can do online or you can come right into the classroom.
But the only difference is the online offers you that convenience of at the time frame that works best for you.
It does. It does. And it works out pretty good because a lot of the students that come in during the week, they're tied up with school projects, so on. But on the weekends, they have time to do this. Online, there is no rush with it. You take your time until you complete it. The only thing is, what they find out while they're doing online is if they have the quiz at the end of each chapter, and if you don't answer it correctly, you start all over again. So it really behooves the student to really read the chapter and go over everything that they're supposed to.
So it's not this simple online course, it's just as stringent. Do they have tests in the 30-hour class offered at the school?
Yeah, when you take classroom at our school, the teachers do quizzes on certain chapters, and also there's a final test that you have to pass before you can get a certificate that you completed this part of the program.
And then if you don't pass that, you can't begin the driver's portion, is that correct?
That's correct. We're not allowed to continue unless the student has that certificate in hand that they passed the classroom or they have the certificate that they completed the online.
Okay. Now, do you offer the classes year-round since it's, activities after school are hard?
Right, we do. Our driver ed program runs continuous all year round. Big differences, okay? During the school year, like I referred to before, due to activities and that, we have it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Students can come like 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock or 6:30 to 8:30. We have several sessions that run throughout the whole school year. Summertime, a little different. During the summertime, we run these driver ed programs during the morning hours, but not on just Tuesday and Thursday. They're run every day. It takes approximately 2.5 weeks, but also they have a choice again. They have a choice of coming in from 8:30 to 10:30 or 10:30 to 12:30. So we have 2 classes now in the summer, one in July and one in August.
So it makes it very convenient for the students then?
Very convenient.
Well, speaking of the convenience, tell me more about the convenience of taking the test right at the school.
Okay, this is one of the big things. The parents really like this, that they can have their son or daughter come through our program. And like I said, they finish the classroom. They begin the 6 one-hour lessons behind the wheel. At the end, at the 6th hour, at the end of it, if the parents want, we do administer that test, which they really like that we do this. Every one of our instructors are state-approved examiners. So they're allowed to give this test, and it saves a lot of convenience for the parents on this. The nice thing about the program is the instructor that you have for behind the wheel driving, he usually meets with the parents after every lesson, so they know where their student is at that, their child is at that time. And the instructor knows what the student has to get maybe a little more done or a little, this is how they work this. And it works out nice, and the parents really like it too. And we also run into the occasion that parents ask for extra hours too. A lot of parents aren't in the biggest hurry to have them just take the test and go out on the road.
Right. So there's a lot of convenience that's offered. Now, you mentioned about this teachers being certified. Did they have to go to certain training, or how does that work?
Okay. The teachers that do our driver's ed, okay, they have to have certain credits just to be an instructor.
Okay.
Now, they want to be an examiner. What happens at that point? When Harrisburg lets us know that they're having an examiner's school, we can send the teachers that are qualified, that have these credits, they go to Harrisburg for their training. And when they come back, it's still not done. They have to do something that every one of the students have to do at the end of the course. They have to take a driver's test.
Oh, okay.
But a little bit different. The instructor, usually it's from Norristown, they will either come out to our location or have our people go down there. Now, at that point, their examiner sits in the sits in the driver's seat. Our new examiner sits in the passenger seat, and he has to find out what they're doing wrong. That's how this all comes about, to be an examiner. And upon passing that, paperwork goes to Harrisburg. Harrisburg okays it. We get a certificate back with a number on it that they're allowed to be an examiner now. And it still doesn't end there. Every year, they have to pass a state audit. Somebody will come out from the Department of Transportation, and each one of those examiners has to have a student available, and the auditor goes out in the car and watches what they do to make sure everything's being done the way the state wants it done.
So it's pretty stringent for
it
the
is.
instructors that teach the driver's ed at North Montco. So that's very impressive.
A lot of people aren't even aware of that, okay?
No.
They were under the impression that they just come in, get hired as a teacher, and that's it. There's a lot in the background that people don't know.
I guess if they're able to administer the driving test right at North Montco, it really is needed that they are that trained and have all that background in order to be an examiner.
Well, the way we get it from the parents is a lot of times if they call up to make a test at one of the driving agencies, it's usually sometimes 8 to 10 weeks.
Oh, okay.
And if you miss it, you got to start all over.
Oh, that's
So
hard.
we make it pretty convenient for it to be done. But I'm saying the best thing that goes with this is the instructors have contact with the parents, and they know exactly where their student or their son is, and the student, he knows where he's at. Okay?
Right.
And it makes a happy medium there.
Right, they can really refine their skills that way. Now, let's talk about the students that are interested in driver's ed. What age should they start taking driver's ed?
Okay. In Pennsylvania, you can't get your permit till you're 16. Okay. We have a lot of students that come in and say, hey, can he apply? Is it true we can do it 1 month in advance? No. You have to be 16. You take you get your physical done, you get a proper ID done, then you can get your permit. Now, I have parents that call and go, well, my son or daughter, they're 15. Can they take the classroom? The answer is yes. Yes, you can take it. A suggestion, you shouldn't. You should wait till you're at least 16. Reason being is, if you come in when you're 15 and you have a whole year to wait for your permit, it's only natural you're going to forget some of this.
Right.
So if you get it when you have your permit now, you're really geared up to start driving. You come in and you feel better in the school, you understand more, you have that permit, and you're eager to do this. That's why we make a suggestion on it.
That makes sense. What about cars? when they are doing the driving? Are they using their own car, or do you supply the cars?
We have to use our cars. Reason being, on our cars, we have a dual brake, which is a must. Just for safety's sake, and state says we have to have that. Okay, we were asked, how come we don't have dual steering wheels? That went out years back. That never did any good. The brake is the important thing.
So the examiner can control the brake if needed.
He can control that car at any time he wants to, okay? And it will stop that car, okay?
And I know some of the requirements are that you have to drive in bad weather. It's during those 6 hours, do they ever take the students out on the bad weather?
Oh, Suzette, that happens. And just to back up a little bit, when you have your permit, do you know, there's a 6-month wait when you're 16 to 18 before you can take your first driver's test.
Right.
All right? And the state mandates that you at least do 65 hours of driving before you even take the test. How do we know this it's being done? It's when the instructor gets them in the car. He can tell right away. Also, before that student is allowed to take a test with us and we have to mail everything in, they have to sign an affidavit that the best of their knowledge that he did 65 hours or she did 65 hours.
Right.
All right. So this is the way it covers us with this, to make sure that 65 hours is done. It's a nice rule to have, because at least they have a good idea of starting the car, stopping, turns, and so it really helps out a lot.
That's great. I think it's the training offered at North Montco for driver's ed is very valuable. Well, I want to thank you, Bill, for coming here today, and I want to remind everyone that the summer classes are now forming for driver's ed, so call now to reserve a spot. And if you want any more information about the driver's ed program offered at North Montco Technical Career Center, or the certifications about any of the programs, just give us a call at 215-368-1177 or visit our website at www.nmtcc.org. For North Montco Technical Career Center, I'm Suzette McHugh. Thank you for watching.